Look at this jokester Tesla bot. Look at this Cybertruck, man. You ever seen one of these before? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Uber for Sean?
Yeah, I'm Sean.
What's up, man?
Good. If you do that again, you're gonna get hurt.
May I take your luggage?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you.
I said no. Hey, man, I got some valuables in there. Can you just be careful?
Yeah, man. No problem.
Oh, dude, come on, man. What are you doing? Why are you Uber driving?
Electricity costs are high.
Electricity costs are high. Okay.
Let's go.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, StarshipStory.com, Craigo, and Daniel. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. A quick correction from last week. No, the Model S does not qualify for the $7,500 tax credit. Despite the price decrease, it would have to get below $55,000. No idea how or why that one happened, but either way, my apologies. I think many of us were expecting it, but in case you haven't seen it before, there are some shots out there of a rear screen in the Cybertruck. Adon shared some very cool images of the Cybertruck with presumably the suspension all the way elevated. Now in the past there was some chatter that the Cybertruck would have a ground clearance of 16 inches, which as far as I can tell may actually be an industry leading figure. I believe the Rivian R1T right now is the benchmark for ground clearance, coming in at around 14.9 inches at the highest setting. And based on this infographic, the Rivian already has over a 3-inch lead on the industry, so maybe 16 inches is a stretch for the Cybertruck, but we'll find out soon enough. I will say though, looking at this image and looking at the front vehicle, 16 might be in play. The president of Tesla China had some words of optimism talking about the NEV market being massive, and right now there's strong or vibrant growth momentum. Wang stressed the strong support Tesla obtained from the Chinese authorities in the past and from Shanghai in recent years. Tesla's localization rate of car components used in the Shanghai factory has exceeded 95%. They signed contracts with 360 local Tier 1 suppliers, and they've brought 60 of them to the international market. And through doing that, then they won recognition from other international auto manufacturers. I think this is a really key point that could be glossed over, again showing us how Tesla actually works with its suppliers. They're almost more of subtle partnerships than they are a traditional supplier. To hammer that point, Chinese enterprises in the supply chain have grown with Tesla because there are a lot of underlying research and development of NEVs, from ideas to assembly lines. Tesla is advancing with these enterprises. So yes, Tesla needs China, but let's not forget China is benefiting greatly from Tesla as well in more ways than one. Kyle from Out of Spec did a great review on the new Model 3. It'll be below. Just want to highlight a few things. First, the front-facing bumper camera is nowhere to be seen. Now, yes, this is a show-type vehicle, not a production variant, presumably. However, Tesla has also removed the front-facing cameras on the website and the promotional materials as well. More on that, though, momentarily.
How come guide comes up before reviews? Out of spec. Here's our ID7 drive. Now we're watching Out of Spec in here.
We also have the wiper fluid port moved up to the front in the frunk area. So maybe this image from the design studio in France, where it actually shows bioweapon defense mode for the new Model 3, something to keep an eye on in the weeks ahead. And while many are mourning the loss of stocks, the silver lining is that this new steering wheel, the haptics seem to be much improved, even over the Model S.
If you click this camera button, it pulls up the back camera and the side cameras right there. Now I imagine if I just have it on back camera, it will just pull up the back camera, but it remembers your last used setting. This is a really nice haptic feedback, way better than Model S haptic feedback. The horn is now in the center. We also have volume controls here on the left and right. These feel very similar to Model S, and actually maybe even a little bit nicer action than Model S in the latching. The turn signals, wow, way better than the Model S yoke or the round wheel. Really good haptic feedback. It almost truly feels like you're hitting a button. And yeah, you know, the whole area that I'm touching is actually moving in and out. So you get some actual pushing action to actuate a button under here. I don't think it's just haptic. Maybe it is, but really good either way. That's impressive.
We still have to wait and see if the North American version will be the same, but as you can see, the turn signal is indeed an amber color. Speaking of that North American version, Tesla Scope has the scoop. We're pleased to share Project Highland for North America will be tentatively announced Q1 of 2024. Production lines for the refreshed Model 3 are being finalized over the next 3 weeks at Fremont. Subject to unexpected delays, validation drives of release candidates begin later this month. In the weeks following the newer builds, they've been informed crash and safety builds will be prepped and tests performed before the end of October. They could not really share any specifics, but they did hint that there may be some changes with the North American version, the now MIA front bumper camera. And they said Tesla is still finalizing the hardware and software for bumper cameras. This is one reason the Cybertruck's bumper camera has only been seen on more recent builds. And while speculative, we believe Tesla's goal is still to include the bumper camera on all new Model 3s upon delivery, but in case of certain roadblocks, its removal from promotional materials helps settle expectations. I'm not gonna lie, it's going to be a long quarter or maybe even closer to 2 for this North American announcement. And of course, we already have rumors and people are wondering about this Project Juniper, the same type of refresh that we're supposed to see on the Model Y. Everything we've heard so far, this won't be coming until sometime Q4 2024. This is just a render, but it'll undoubtedly be a fun year watching all of the rumors on this one. Sawyer had a good catch over the weekend on Tesla's website. Autosteer on city streets had been listed as coming soon for 4 years. Well, that's now been removed. So yeah, it's here and Tesla's feeling pretty confident about the functionality. And Elon chimed in to confirm saying, yup. Tesla is building its charging stations cheaper and faster than competitors, you don't say. Their bids are about half the cost of what rivals have offered in this race to get those federal funds for charging stations. When it comes to the current DC fast charging network, 3 out of 5 are Tesla superchargers. So not only does Tesla dominate the network right now, but they're installing them at a faster rate than competitors, and they're doing it at a cost 20 to 70% lower than the rivals. So far, Tesla is the winning bidder to build chargers at about 18% of the sites selected by the states, more than any other company. Tesla has won around 8.5 million of the roughly 77 million awarded so far. Those numbers are just the beginning because Tesla's bids averaged around $392,000 a site compared with an average of $795,000 from others. And this mentions nothing of the reliability of the supercharger network, so again, how is the competition going to compete? In most cases, Tesla plans to install 8 to 12 chargers per location, while most companies are looking to do the bare minimum, which is 4 fast charging ports per station. In one bid in Maine, it estimated the hardware cost of $17,000 per charger, compared with $130,000 by another company. How is Tesla doing this? Well, Rebecca Tanucci, the head of global charging infrastructure, said, "We're vertically integrated. We manufacture and engineer all of our own charging equipment." The seeds Tesla has planted the past decade are now starting to grow. Tesla already has established relationships with utilities and local government offices that have to approve the paperwork, so there's a familiarity there. And the CEO of EV adoption said Tesla, move at the speed of light. Albemarle looking to buy out Liontown for just over $4 billion shouldn't have any hiccups in Tesla's supply, but Liontown does indeed have supply contracts with Tesla. And a thread to keep an eye on, prices of lithium have basically halved from their peaks last year, and because of that, there's been some share price weakness across the sector, presenting some buying opportunities, so more M&A ahead. The Giga Berlin train shuttle is now live, capable of moving 400 people per ride. I added my own music for copyright reasons, but there was also this video that shows us a DJ playing some techno music on the Giga Berlin train. Pretty cool. For now, it does appear to be a diesel train, so maybe in the future they can make it fully electric. From The Driven, we have Germany's finance minister trying to ensure combustion engine cars powered by synthetic fuels or e-fuels enjoy the same tax advantages as EVs. The German transport minister said the race for the car drive of the future is completely open. We can't possibly predict today which technology will prevail in 2040. To that, I would say, how about we focus on what happens before 2030? I have not done a ton of due diligence, but the little I've read, I'm not confident that e-fuels are the way or will ever be a big part of our transition. To me, it just seems like the Germans don't want to take the risk to make EVs, so they're doing whatever they can to stick with what they know, internal combustion engines. I could definitely be wrong on that though, so let me know below if you have strong opinions. Forbes Mexico is telling us Giga Mexico is kind of stuck waiting the change of land use authorization. This actually has nothing to do with the construction beginning. And sorry, clicking this, yes I agree, does nothing. Then we have this interesting statement. Tesla Manufacturing Mexico, Tesla's subsidiary for this project, estimates the duration of the construction of the work will be 3 years, a period that includes all of the work to be carried out. I wouldn't be concerned with this number. This could mean a lot of different things. It could be something with lithium refining, it could be something with battery production, essentially encompassing all aspects of the future plans of the Gigafactory. Because keep in mind, everything we've heard to date was that construction of the factory should only take about 18 months as they wanted to move as fast as possible. But now, if I'm understanding this article correctly, it's looking like Tesla may have to wait 60 business days for the authorities to grant this authorization for the land use change. So far, relative to what our expectations were from some of the wording from government officials, Giga Mexico not off to the hottest of starts. In case you're in Australia considering a Tesla Powerwall, it sounds like the price just decreased by $800. Sticking with Australia, customers that had Model 3 performance variants on order are now having those canceled and they're being told to pick a different vehicle. Reading between the lines, I would take that to mean that a Model 3 performance variant is not coming anytime soon, at least in this market. And Tesla is looking to capitalize on the Australian resources. Tesla is encouraging Australia to offer tax incentives to transform the mining nation into a hub for processing the minerals used to make batteries. Robin Denholm, who is Australian, said Australia can be more than a dig and ship nation. Because remember, most of the lithium that is mined in Australia is then shipped to, you guessed it, China, where it's then refined. She said the longer we wait, the greater risk we have of this opportunity passing us by as other countries without as much underlying minerals leapfrog us into capturing the most valuable parts of the battery supply chain. No surprise Tesla is encouraging this because from 2021 to 2023, Tesla has spent over 3x the amount on Australian minerals. And Robin said Australia would need 30 more refining projects to be developed in Australia for them to compete on the world stage. Now the big question becomes, will the leadership in Australia actually be responsive? From Korea Economic Daily, Samsung has signed a contract to supply camera modules for vehicles to the US electric vehicle company. They didn't name Tesla, but everyone is expecting it to be Tesla. The contract's been signed, but the quantity and amount have not been determined. Samsung is expected to supply ultra high definition products with more than 5 million pixels to Tesla, and Samsung's Foundry division will commission more than half of Tesla's next-gen Hardware 5 chips. And if for some reason you don't think the Chinese are copying Tesla, taking advantage of their proximity, have a look at this. Tesla Shanghai sued a Chinese firm over tech infringement and unfair competition disputes. The lawsuit is against Bingling Intelligent Tech, a chip designer and auto parts maker. We got the Tesla China weekly insured units, 11,800. Plugging that into the table, if you wanted to compare it to the same week in Q2, that number was 14,500. But if you look at weeks 1 through 9 in Q2, we were at 94.3 thousand. Looking at the same first 9 weeks in Q3, still ahead of pace, sitting at 101,000. So potentially we're finally seeing a slowdown for the Project Highland switchover. We also got the wholesale number for the month of August coming in at 84,159. We should get the more granular details in the days ahead, but comparing this number to the past year, it's the fourth best month. And this is most certainly just a rumor. However, the word is the new Model 3 orders in China from September 1st to the 3rd exceeded 50,000 and today exceeded 90,000. But again, there's a lot of confusion here. Is this number today just today, or is it cumulative for September? Questions abound, so I wouldn't put any stock in the numbers specifically, but overall I would take this to mean that the demand for the new Model 3 is very strong so far. I also came across this chart that was sourceless, however I did confirm the top 3 numbers. So what we're looking at is Chinese worldwide pre-tax profit for the first 6 months of 2023 compared to Tesla. So in the first half of the year, Tesla did about $5.7 billion in global pre-tax profit. And if you add up all of these Chinese automakers combined, they're still falling short of Tesla's profit. So all the time in the media, we hear about sales numbers and figures, but not nearly as often is anybody talking about how much these companies are actually making. And as Sawyer pointed out, if you go to the Tesla China configurator, the long-range Model Y delivery time is now 6 to 8 weeks, up from 2 to 6 weeks previously. The rear-wheel drive and the performance variants still sit at 2 to 6 weeks. Thinbold was using this chart saying it came from Tesla Motors Club, but I believe this is direct from Troy Teslake. Either way, it's just showing us Tesla's registrations in Europe year to date and by year. So 2023 is off to an incredibly strong start, despite what the media would have you believe. So through August this year, Tesla has already eclipsed all of their registrations for 2022. This right here is such a great principle to keep in mind when it comes to investing. Sawyer highlighted Peter Rawlinson was the highest paid automotive CEO, earning $379 million last year, to which Elon said, beware any company where leadership compensation is not linked to performance. And yes, Elon was basically working for free in 2022, and I'm still waiting for somebody to ask the question on an earnings call, what's going on with the future if there will be a new compensation package for Elon. But for now, here's a look at the top of the list for CEO compensation in 2022, where you'll also find Mary Barra. And while Elon's compensation was nothing last year, it was $23 billion in 2021. Speaking of Lucid, in a recent interview, Peter Rawlinson said the key obstacle to widespread adoption in the US and worldwide of EVs is the entry price point. Rawlinson said, we're targeting a price, and don't hold me to this, around $50,000, that's the vision. Right in the heart of the Tesla Model 3, Model Y territory. I wish I could go to a lower price car, but it's the best this company can do in this mid to late decade timeframe. In a refreshing departure from the Hummer strategies of the world, he did say he thinks the future is highly efficient cars with around 25 kilowatt hour batteries that can do around 150 miles. Maybe it wouldn't be massive, but I do think there's a market for this in the States. Mercedes is now backtracking on its plans to be all electric in Europe by 2030. The CEO said it's not going to be 100% in 2030, obviously from the whole European market, but probably from the Mercedes side as well. He also touched on Mercedes having the ability to produce electric or combustion engine vehicles on the same production line, which is not at all a first principles mentality. Keep it in mind, if you look around the industry, a lot of legacy auto is slowly backing off some of their initial EV targets. In China, VW has cut the prices of the ID4 by about 25%, going from $26,700 US down to $20,100. You can see ID4 sales in China this year by month. They were steadily increasing up through May, where they crescendoed, and since then they've been on a steady decline. Ford has applied to trademark the F200 name. It's purely speculation, but some people think this is going to be for that T3 truck, or Trust the Truck, that Ford has touted their next EV truck, which Ford has said will offer more robust vehicle-to-load technology than the F-150 Lightning. No other details available so far. Mercedes and BMW were at the IAA Auto Show over in Germany, and Mercedes CEO also said, with these efficiency numbers and that kind of range, that kind of fast charging, I'm not aware of any vehicle in that class that can match that. The thing is, this concept CLA class that he was referring to is not yet a vehicle in the market yet either, so whenever it gets to market, we'll then compare to the competition. I've been doing this long enough to not be impressed at all by anything that is still a concept car. Same thing with BMW and their next-gen EV platform set to enter production in 2025. I promise you guys I have zero political take on this one. I just hate to see things get weaponized for political purposes. Of course, Trump is just trying to win the Michigan votes, but on Truth Social, he said, all electric cars, they will be made in China, and the auto industry in America will cease to exist. This right here is why I despise hyperbole and have so many qualms with politics in general. With this one, really, I think I just wanted to share my frustration with the weaponization of EVs. It looks like some showrooms across Europe are set to get the new Project Highland Model 3. This truck today was seen in Germany delivering the new cars. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video. If you did, you can find me on X, linked below. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.